Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. And the Lions have just gone down to Ulster in their final match of the 4-week tour. 26 points to 10 and another very frustrating performance from the Johannesburg outfit who at passages and at times kind of sort of showed they could compete. But at the end of the day, defensively still a little bit lacking and just not being able to sort of be creative enough, I think, on attack. I think that the absence of a playmaker today really did affect the Lions, who, when they had a large sort of stages of possession, couldn't really manage to carve up the chances to try and sort of break down the Ulster defense, which did stand pretty firm. Also, I think a couple of ref interpretations, which I think will continue to sort of cause a little bit of concern. I think that there's, even when the Irish commentators talking about the referee sometimes being a little bit harsh on the Lions, it's going to take a long time to sort of get used to the way the Northern Hemisphere referees officiate the game. And it's something that we're going to have to adapt to because, unfortunately, it's not going to change. And you can't spend every single week sort of blaming on the referee. And the referee was not the reason that the Lions lost. 26 points to 10, 4 tries to 1. Ulster did play better than the Lions. What I will say, though, it was very concerning to see the Money Russ incident where a man is down, sitting on the ground, can't get up because he's got a concussion. The game does not continue. He's got blood pouring down the right of his face. The game continues. He gets up and he staggers. He literally almost falls over because he can't walk. That's how out of it he is. The game continues. The rugby at the moment is currently at a bit of a crossroad in terms of being under a lot of pressure because of the concussion and the big head damage and head injuries that are happening. To see an incident like that happen today and for the referee to not have stopped play is very, very poor in my opinion. And it's not just because a couple of minutes later the Ulster did score. You cannot ever have a situation where a player is concussed, he's down on the floor, and he feels that he needs to get up and try and regain the line because the referee will not pause play. It has become very, very standard that at any head injury, you stop the game. And that's the right decision. There are far too many major incidents happening. Pat Lambie being retired from rugby because of concussion. This is how serious it is. So to see that carry on during that incident was very, very poor today. And I think it was a horrible sort of sight to see someone staggering off to the right, nowhere near trying to join his line, going not even near to the bench. He didn't even know where he was going, was Money Russ. And I really do hope he's all right, but it was very, very poor that the game was not stopped. And inevitably, Ulster went to go and score a try on the overlap. Shock and horror when you've got 14 men defending. So that was a very frustrating moment because I just think from a player welfare point of view, it was ugly to watch. You can't have that situation. It's got nothing to do with scoring a try. It's got nothing to do with thinking that that you need the advantage. A player must never ever be in a situation where they feel when they've got a head injury that they need to get up and try and play rugby. Because it's the worst thing you can do. It is the worst thing, and people are going to get hurt if you don't take charge. And there's rugby being a contact sport, and then there's protecting players, and that was not protecting players. That was a very frustrating incident. Apart from that, the Lions were in the lead. They conceded a try early and managed to hit back quite nicely. And, defensively, still missing quite a lot of tackles, but scramble defense is pretty good. And they sort of creating a lot of mistakes. And, you can sort of say that Ulster butchered a lot of chances, and they did. But when two teams do it in a row against the Lions, Glasgow Warriors making a lot of mistakes in the sort of final stages, Ulster also making a couple of final mistakes. I think some mistakes are genuinely horrendous mistakes. You think of McCann dropping the ball where he almost could have gone over. But a certain amount, I think, is the Lions sort of being able to put enough pressure and being able to sort of put that rush defense and be quite physical, which they have been, to be able to almost force those mistakes. Because I don't think it is a coincidence that we are seeing teams make those kind of mistakes up against the Lions. I think there does seem to be a little bit of a change in mentality with defense, and physically the Lions did front up today. It was very impressive, but you can't defend for 80 minutes. Their inability to keep a ball in hand and inability to be able to sort of protect possession and play a tactical game was very obvious today, unfortunately. It just didn't really seem like when ball was in hand there was much of a plan. We saw a couple of incidents where we had decent go forward ball, suddenly we couldn't sort of, and after that sort of being slowed down, even for you, on 2 occasions, kicking the ball away needlessly and not even like, putting it up and under to try and make it competitive, or, playing a territory game where you're sort of kicking it very deliberately right towards the corner, just sort of chipping into the 22 and hoping for something to happen, which was frustrating. But if you look at some of the stats, it just shows you that Ulster did dominate the game. They definitely did not dominate the game. But possession-wise, the Lions actually had more, interestingly enough, Ulster beat 4 defenders, Lions beat 3. Ulster had more clean breaks, which I think is very much testament to the fact that any time you go wide against the Lions, there is space to attack. And teams must be watching that thinking, if we are quick enough to be able to get that ball out wide, we can definitely punish this side. Turnovers conceded by Lions 12-11, so a lot of turnovers being conceded by both teams. If you look at the missed tackles, though, Lions missing 11 tackles, making 133. Ulster missing 5, having made only 44. So, this is what I'm saying. The Lions have to be keeping ball in hand and have to be sort of asking them to make more tackles. The Ulster defense was very good, but I don't think the Lions did enough to try and wear them down. Physically, the Lions definitely had the edge. The tackling, when they were making a tackle, there were a lot of dominant tackles, a lot of sort of driving players back, but they didn't manage to sort of assert their authority enough on the attack. And Ulster kind of just sort of waited for the Lions to make mistakes, get themselves on the front foot. They had some very nice moments to Ulster, a couple of very the offload game got a lot better in the second half. They had some nice offloads, which did sort of punish the Lions. But we're looking at some of the breakdown stats. 49% ruck percentage for Ulster, 50% for the Lions. 7 balls won by Ulster, 3 by the Lions. If we look at set plays, Lions using 2 lineouts continues to be a major issue. The Ulster lineout today operated like a well-oiled machine. They went up, they went down, they recycled the ball. They never ever looked like losing a lineout. The Lions, on the other hand, that line looks so sketchy, and I think it does come down to the hookers, because I think Jaco Vasaki's always had a bit dodgy at line time, and PJ Buerta, who got all of his throws today, but has been known to struggle when it comes to lineouts. Scrums 1, Lions 4, Ulster 1. They didn't lose a single scrum, but look, at the end of the day, the South African sides are not used to not being rewarded for scrum dominance. And there was an early scrum, for example, for the Lions, where they had decent amount of dominance, and there was no sort of even indication of potentially getting a penalty or anything for it. We do need to adapt to the fact that we have to use the ball at the end of the day. We can't use the scrum as a weapon to just demolish our positions and try and win penalties and then go to the corner, use the line up more, score a try. If you're going to win a penalty for a scrum in this competition, you really do have to dominate them completely. It's not good enough just to gain a couple of meters. Because if their scrum shape and holds, they won't reward you. Penalty conceded was 6 to Ulster, 5 against Lions. There's definitely a lot more than that, so I think that'll probably update on the Rugby Pass website. In terms of some player stats, though, defensive efforts, big defensive effort from Vince Tuka today. 14 tackles. He did miss one, so this is a little bit wrong, but apparently 14 tackles. Sangweni made 10 tackles, and Brandon Northknuckle didn't miss a single one. Burger Odendaal made 14 tackles, didn't miss a single one. Stian Pienaar made 11 tackles and didn't miss a single one. So some very impressive defensive contributions there from the Lions. Raz Matlana missing 3 tackles as well. You kind of sort of expect that with a wing. But for the Ulster, a couple of big defensive efforts from Adam O'Connor, who made all 5 of his tackles. James Hume was very good defensively in the midfield. On the attack, I thought Nick Timoney, I thought the entire loose trio looked quite dangerous for Ulster. Ethan McElroy looked for a lot of work. Sometimes it came off. Sometimes he sort of put his side under a little bit of pressure. Will Addison did limp off. Well, he was carried off the field, so not a good looking injury there. But I thought Michael Lowry was quite impressive when he came on. Back to the drawing board for the Lions. But next time they play, they will be at home. So it's a whole opportunity for them to really reset, have a bit of a break, and know that they won't have to travel. They won't have to quarantine. They will be at home until January. When they then go over to play against Leinster, which is going to be a huge ask. But they will have 2 back-to-back games. One against, I think it's Cardiff or Edinburgh, something like that. And then another game against Munster towards the end of the year. So very, very much looking forward to that. Let me know what you thought of the game down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Stephen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.